to do what real men do, which is actually road trip back home. So instead of having our flights canceled, we rented a car and drove 1,000 miles last night.
Well, literally just now, we just walked in.
We just walked in, yes.
Yeah, like now.
But we did promise you a Chicago recap, so we are going to do the Chicago recap,
Yep.
and we're going to kind of walk through what was unveiled there. This is our new show, TFLnow. It's going to be on hopefully daily very soon, 10 o'clock, 10 a.m. Mountain Time, right?
Ish.
Well, how much did you sleep last night?
I didn't.
How much did you sleep last night?
About 3 hours.
How much? Maybe an hour.
You guys heard me snoring in the car, so you know how long I slept.
A little bit.
Yeah.
We'll get to the recap of the trip and
Yeah.
SpongeBob as soon as we get to the end of the show. But we promised these guys to talk about what was happening in Chicago.
Yeah.
So let's talk about it. Besides the fact that it's shut down because of the biggest snowstorm in.
Well, do you want to hit the news first and get that done, and then?
Well, I've got 3 items of news, and Andre, you're a news guy, so
Sure.
why don't you start with news?
Well, actually, Nathan is going to start with the Beamer, and then I'll hit it with the trucks.
All right.
That's right. When is a BMW X2 worth twice the amount? Well, apparently in Italy it is, and that's because the BMW X2 Rebel Edition is yours for about $73,000.
What?
But the reason why it is that expensive is because you can get it autographed, hence the term Rebel, autographed by, let's see, Pietro Sedone, who is a world-famous graphic artist slash tattoo artist who will decorate your vehicle, I don't know how much, but for basically twice the amount of money. Now, bear in mind that this BMW X2 is based on the xDrive 25D, and so it's diesel, which I always think Rebel when I think diesel. And
Wow.
yeah, it is basically double the
I
price.
gotta say, I hate that color.
That's because you're tired and angry.
What?
We have a video to show that.
Oh,
Oh
we have
yeah,
video.
yes, and we do have a video, so prepare for that.
Prepare
Okay,
for the video.
let's
Good.
see that.
Thank you. It's a naked man on a chair.
Well, that's Pietro.
Wow.
Wow.
Tatuare è un'arte.
He says in Italy,
Ribellarsi a un'immagine e diventare chi si è veramente.
lots of men lose their legs.
Da vivere sulla nostra pelle.
In prison we use
E su quella che
tattoos.
oggi è un po' la nostra seconda pelle. L'auto.
Best color they ever
Per questo
had.
abbiamo chiesto a uno dei più grandi tatuatori italiani al mondo di
Guy has a big beard.
realizzare 5 auto dedicate a 5 forme di ribellione contemporanea per ribellarsi agli status effimeri.
Okay, that was kind of
Ai
cool.
modi artificiali, ai like facili, ai media delle fake news,
This is terrible. I'm sorry.
al tempo sprecato.
I think I didn't sleep enough last
Diventa
night.
chi sei veramente. Scopri
Oh, you get your own
le
robot.
X2 Rebel Edition tatuate e rese uniche da Pietro Sessa.
For those of you who speak Italian, please translate. Okay.
Yeah, that was
Thank you, Zach, for the commercial.
Even without sleep
Look
deprivation.
at this.
that
Look
was
at this.
great.
Wow.
Oh, there's the tattoo.
Okay, so that's why it's
Why is he missing an
73.
eye?
Because
It's an
he's a
artistic-
cyclops. No,
artistic
he's a
talent.
cyclops. They have cyclops in Italy.
By the way, guys, we want to have you as part of the show, so we're doing shout-outs throughout the show. So whenever there's a comment, we've got our man Mike over there who's going to shout it out to us, and yeah, we'll have you part of the show. All right, let's keep going with the news. There's a lot more news.
A lot of truck news, and just a couple days ago, the Ram online configurator went live for the brand new 2019 model. Bear in mind, no pricing was available, but we were able to get a lot of the options, choices from the online configurator right there. And of course, there are 6 new models of the Ram 2019 overall at the top level. Tradesman, Bighorn, there's the Rebel, there's a Limited, there's a Longhorn, there's a Laramie, and of course, this is a Tradesman right here. And I think the interesting part of the configurator is they're offering 3 engine choices on the configurator. V6 hybrid, Hemi V8, and Hemi V8 hybrid.
Yeah.
But Ram told us that the V6 is coming later, but they already have it in the configurator, so people can choose, pick and choose.
Interesting.
Is there a Big Cojones edition? That's what I want.
There's always a big cojones
Because,
edition.
we're all about truck nuts here.
And it came out in Chicago. We'll get to that a little later.
All right, good.
That was the Mopar. This is the Bighorn. This is Ram's most popular model, right? They sell the most of these. And so you'll be able to get it as a quad cab, also as a crew cab. But if you get a regular cab, you'll have to buy the old 2018 model.
Well, I've got some news from Chicago.
What's that?
Well, and there wasn't much news, fortunately. It was a sparse show for new vehicles. There were, in fact, only a handful. But this is important because the wording of this is crucial. So Nissan had a press conference where it actually snowed on you guys.
Yes.
They made it snow. Was it
And
snow?
we
What was
found a new truck there.
It was soap or something
soap,
like
yeah,
that. They were
yeah,
blowing
soap.
through the thing.
And we found this new truck, and it's a factory approved Icon lift.
Yes.
So it's a 3-inch lift that you can get on both the Titan and the Titan XD, which is the one with the Cummins, of course. But it's not a Nissan factory lift. It's an Icon.
But what did you learn?
I did learn
Yeah.
that what you do is when you order it, it is installed through the dealership
So
And
Icon
warranty.
supplies it.
and warranted.
By Nissan.
Yep. So basically, it's a Nissan component that they're kind of lazy
they're
about.
not.
They don't really want to put it on at the factory.
Or it gets too expensive, or
It could be
yeah.
one of those things, but you know what? A lot of you guys, and I agree with you, were saying that it needed a lift. It really needed something, and they heard you. And this lift on this vehicle, I think, is absolutely just right for off-roaders. Okay, so we now have to test it.
And I saw Andre with lust in his eyes because the truck that they actually had to show looked just like your boat. It had big
It had speakers in the
back.
back.
Yes, big sports
like a
bar, right?
It was like
lights.
a ski boat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wanted actually to hook up a rope and go like snow skiing behind it.
Maybe
in
we could do that.
Chicago.
Well, they had that treaded thing.
Why?
Yeah.
didn't
Z
we-
with treads
Why
on
didn't
it.
we ski in Chicago?
Why didn't we?
Because we scurried like mice before the
Because
snow.
if you ski in Chicago, you get mugged. We all know that.
All right, well, let's keep going with the news, boys. And I think
Absolutely.
it's time we talk about some more Chicago news. The biggest news, of course, was the fact that, and this is hold on to your hats, and once again, the language here is very important.
Oh yeah, this.
So I'll tell you the official way, and you tell it the way that we saw it, okay? All right, so Toyota introduced a new Tacoma TRD Pro with a desert air intake.
Snorkel.
No,
Snorkel.
No, they were very careful to say it's
God!
not a snorkel.
So why aren't they calling it a snorkel? Why are they calling it a desert
Because
air?
it's for that.
So
it's
normally,
for running
so,
in the
so
dust.
normally the air comes in right there, right by the wheel.
And
well.
all the dust that's up here doesn't count. It's just
It's
the
running
dust
clean
that's
air.
down there,
You
and
can
it's
see it.
getting clean air. Look, when you have a snorkel or something like this on a truck, what do you want to do? Go into the water, right? This is-
Ford, the Mississippi.
yes, or
No.
even larger rivers, the Volga. But they don't want you to do that because the liability, this is my guess,
Yeah.
that they would incur would be horrible because people would be drowning their trucks left and right because 3/4 of the people who would drive this vehicle with that air intake would probably
So
screw up.
Andre, how high do you think this is, the roof line here?
Well,
Almost
that-
6 feet, I'd
6
say.
feet.
Yeah, it's
So
about
how long
6 feet.
before somebody buys one of these, drives it into a river,
Goes
and,
8 feet.
and takes it into their local dealership? I said, I only took it in 6 feet of water.
Check engine light came on, and then nothing. We had to pull it out of the water. I didn't
Well, I
understand.
spoke with the engineer,
Yeah.
right? And
Okay.
he said the forging depth did not change.
Okay.
The forging depth is the same. What
Which
it
is how
was
much?
is what it is, and he
Which
didn't
is
tell me
how
that.
much? He
So
didn't tell you that.
I'll have to come back and tell you.
One of the issues is a lot of people don't waterproof their vehicle before they take them into water. It has a little bit to do with this, but think
Like,
about
like
it.
wrap
there
it
are-
in a giant garbage bag?
Well, no, there are ways you can waterproof your engine and make sure that certain components, wiring and whatnot, aren't corroded after you go through water one or
Especially
two
salt
times.
water.
Well, especially salt
I
water.
learned that the hard way. Are there any shout-outs from people out
I'm
out
guessing
there
from some
online?
Hummer owners who are mad at you for drowning the Hummer, but
Go for it, Mike.
Dave Lusk says, thanks for doing this.
Hey,
Much
Dave.
better than work in DC.
thanks, Dave.
Thank you.
Austin wants to know, what do you guys think of the new Ram look overall?
I miss the crosshair grill. I love that grill, and I think that they should have kept it. Instead, they went to a much more modern, much more sleek grill. I would have gone the other way. I would have gone with like 2 6-shooters like this in the front of it, or like this. Either one.
I don't miss it.
No?
I think, especially in the Rebel, the
Yeah.
way they did the new Rebel, and we have a few pictures of Ram trucks.
It's got the
I-
mustache.
Yeah, and I kind of, I'm there now. I think the crosshairs are okay, they're in the past, and now we're moving on.
I wonder where they got the idea for a mustache like that. I'm just saying.
I think the designers were
They
talking
were,
to you.
yeah, apparently everybody thinks I'm a Ram guy anyway, so.
Well, we haven't finished with the Toyota because once again,
Oh, there's more.
There's more news.
But
because
wait, there's more.
Let's
Wait,
go back
there's
to
more.
Toyota.
There's like one big thing that happened at the show, And that is, of course, that they've also changed the shock absorbers. They went from Bilstein's
Yeah.
to
On the
Fox.
Tundra and the Forerunner.
To Fox.
And
There
here you go,
Yeah.
Fox shocks all the way
Reservoir
around.
Reservoir and all
Reservoir
that.
shocks, and they're saying they're smoother off-road, they're better in the whoop-de-doos, and they're better on-road. So we won't know until we get to drive one. And I asked, this won't come out till sometime this late summer. It's a ways.
Or in
It's
the
like,
fall even.
Or in the
Yeah.
fall. It's like
Yeah.
6 months out.
Now, guys, we've tested the Tacoma TRD Pro several times.
Yes.
And it is a very capable, great vehicle, but there was, and apparently still is, one issue. Anybody want to guess?
I know.
Tires. And they're the same tires as before. And according to, didn't you talk to an engineer?
Yes, but I did this elaborate interview, and we want to edit it and publish it on TFL Truck
Okay.
channel.
So stay tuned for that to get his
Stay tuned for that
response.
video in a few days when we edit it. I asked the engineer all the tough questions, I think.
All right, so we tried to do this thing from the show called TFL Front Row,
Yeah.
where we actually try to get you into the front row of the show, and it turned out to be a bit of a train wreck.
Well, not entirely, I would say.
Well,
I
I
think,
almost got in a fight, Nathan.
with a little old lady. It was
Yeah.
pretty funny, actually. No, the thing is that we're working with new technology in order to try to make the experience as transparent as possible so we can bring you guys into the show, which is why we sit in the front row. We set up this special new camera we have right in the front row so you see everything unencumbered.
And then I got into a fight with an old lady.
And then he goes into, he gets a throwdown with an old lady.
She yelled at me. She said, "Move your camera."
And you should have heard what he said.
I said,
Let's not repeat what you said.
But let's not go there.
But the fact is, it's nice to be in the studio like this, right?
Yeah,
it's
yeah, this is
calm.
easier.
We're at home. We're in our nice garage. But when you get 50 other journalists, everybody's streaming. There's interference. There's James Belushi coming out on the harmonica.
That was
and
sad.
it's just everything just drops.
that was like the weirdest thing. So, Jim Belushi's brother, James Belushi, came out and started playing. Actually, he sang Sweet Home Chicago.
Yeah, it was really cool.
And then he like fake played a harmonica.
harmonica.
And then it got weird. If
It
that
was
wasn't-
weird.
This was
It
at the
was-
Ford debut.
Yeah.
This is for the Ford Transit Connect and their new diesel power plant, which, by the way, they gave no information about any of the specifications when they did the debut.
So, let's go down the list of weirdness, right? So what the first thing was he sings Sweet Home Chicago, and they're like, hey, we're proud to introduce this homegrown band, and they pull the covers off of it, and it's covered with New York
Bagels.
bagel company. I'm like, really?
New York Bagel Company, Chicago.
Okay, let's keep it going. We have
All
a.
right, we got number 2. Let's go.
Any shout outs?
Any shout outs? Quickly. We got 15 minutes
yeah,
left.
Bob wanted to say thanks to all you for what you do. He enjoys.
You're welcome, Bob.
You're welcome, Bob.
Keep the great work.
All right, well, let's
Okay.
keep going. The next vehicle that was unveiled was the
Arteon.
Arteon or Atreon?
Arteon.
Arteon. There it is. It's the Volkswagen successor to the CC. I would have called it the CC2.
Which actually is one of the few times you've had a good idea.
Thank you.
I like this car because I think it's sleek and awesome looking, and it's like a discount Audi. That's the way I look at it.
It's like an A5.
Yeah.
It's an A5 Sportback, but VW version of it. I think it looks amazing, and
BMW, take note. This is how you do a fastback.
2-liter turbo, 268 horsepower, VW digital cockpit. It's coming out the third quarter of 2018, boys.
and 4Motion,
And 4Motion.
and very familiar cockpit once again.
And this was one of the cars that we didn't get up close and personal with because we had to leave the show a little earlier. So I kind of feel like we missed this, but now you're seeing it here.
Yes, and real quick, on the promotional shot, this is Volkswagen's own thing. It's Ozzy's Boneyard, Ted Nugent, dog eat dog. I think there's a reason for that, but Monkey
Did you
monkey.
have something to do with this?
no, I didn't.
Oh.
All right, let's move on.
All right, number 3. This was an interesting one. It was the Polaris Slingshot LE.
It looks a lot like a Hyundai.
Yeah. Nope.
I know, Volkswagen.
Nope.
So they've been stealing. Nice going, Polaris.
All right.
You have some,
There we
It
go.
is. So it's basically a gull-winged. It is. These are
Kind of.
little gull wings. It's a
The little
gull-winged
panels.
Slingshot that costs $30,000, dude, and you could get a lot of car for $30K
You can indeed, but you see, this actually gives you more for less.
or less for more.
Think about it this way: you will never miss a pothole. Oh wait,
So we actually had this vehicle.
Not with the roof, though.
Not with the roof, and Paul tested it and hated it. He took it on the track. He said dynamically it was.
Well, he didn't hate it.
he hated it. He as much as he hated it. And it's not about that, right? This is basically a motorcycle on 3 wheels, right?
Yeah,
And somebody was telling me, actually,
Open
the
top.
laws vary state to state.
Yeah.
Like in Texas, you can drive it without a motorcycle license. In Colorado, you have to have a
You
motorcycle
know what's
license.
way cool about this? Look at this fender right there. So when I picked it up, it was pissing down rain. I picked it up in Colorado, and I had all my motorcycle wet gear on because I didn't have the gull-wing roof. And I'm driving it down the highway, and all these people come by me and they give me thumbs up, and I'm like, man, they think I'm Batman, right? Because it kind of looks like a Batmobile.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, it turns out that there's a 50-foot rooster tail shooting off the back of that
Oh,
one wheel.
man.
Seriously, it was like.
So now they offer the little fender.
Well, I think mine had a little fender
It
too.
had it on the other
It
one,
wasn't quite long enough.
Yeah.
So that kind of debuted there. It's a GM 2.4 liter engine, 173 horsepower, and three-wheeled vehicles are becoming more acceptable because of stability and traction control. Once upon a time, that was inherently unstable, but now if you start to kind of get a little funky with it, the traction control kicks in, stability control kicks in, and you won't roll it.
I drove a T-Rex, and I can tell you honestly, it's a very difficult vehicle to drive. But
You did drive it to you.
yes, I did a few
You
different
were like a
types.
cork in a bottle.
It really didn't fit me for some strange reason. It's a very tight confines. The one thing, really quick, guys, and you all agree on this. The one thing that makes this thing so fun to drive is that the fact that it's like a motorcycle without a roof.
Yes.
So by applying a roof to it, it kind of takes that away. Oh, and by the way, the windshield, it doesn't go all the way up to the roof.
No.
There's a little slot.
So you do get some daylight, actually. You do get some daylight.
Yeah, you'll feel stuff. That's for sure. Okay, move
All right,
on.
let's keep going. And of course, the other thing that debuted, which we sat through, was the Hyundai Sonata hybrid plug-in.
Yes,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
the thing about the Hyundai debut, they talked about a lot of different things, and also they unveiled a race car. But this is, of course, the car you can buy.
Yeah, it's got a range of 600 to 650 miles.
That's good.
We could have used it last night.
Yeah.
Yeah, we should have asked them for it. What they did is they brought out a race car, which was really a race car that's not available in the United States, but is going to be racing in the United States. And they brought two of their drivers out on stage for 30 seconds, showed them, and then put them back, and they were done. So, unfortunately, yeah, it's a shame. I think that they had the, what was it, the I-30?
It was an i30N, very special race car,
Yeah.
which was cool, but it wasn't a production car.
Now, behind us, boys, we have a plug-in hybrid.
Yes, we do.
It's
Yes.
the Nero plug-in hybrid, which actually I think is a really cool car. I got to test drive the Nero, not the plug-in hybrid, the regular one. They did something smart with this car. What they did was they made a hybrid that looks normal, but they made it look like a tall crossover.
Which it's not.
Which is, it looks like it's four-wheel drive, which it's not. That one has an all-electric range of 26 miles. It'll go 500 miles plus, with the full fuel tank on a full charge.
I want to drive it. Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, it's cool. It's cool, man. It's a cool car. It's a cool concept, and it's one of those painless hybrids. And finally, Prius is getting a little bit of serious competition. A lot of room in the back, great for kids. You'll never know if you didn't see the plug, you'd probably never know it's a plug-in hybrid.
There you go. All right, let's move on. And we've got
Pick of the day, dude.
Because of them
pick of the day. Fire it out.
Any more shout-outs?
Yeah, while we're getting that.
Oh, what is that?
I love that paint job.
Did you do the paint?
This is what happens when you leave college kids in control of the pictures.
I'll be right back. I'm gonna get the prize we're giving away.
I think
Okay.
that there's some hacky sacks and catnip involved. Wow, really?
We can say
This is what you,
This is example number 1 of this vehicle. This is the first one.
which is one of the worst possible examples.
You have more
ever.
pictures of
You have
this?
another picture of it?
No.
No.
This is
We
it.
would give away too much.
So guys, you have to guess what this is, right?
I'm going to give you a hint. It's not a Volkswagen.
Ooh. How come the wheels and tires are bold? How come the tires are bold?
Because it was a friend of Mikey's who brought it out,
Oh.
took a picture of it, and they were hanging out at a tattoo parlor.
And the first person who emails us what this is
Oh, yeah, there you go.
gonna win this. Look what it is.
Yeah, Polaris hat.
You're gonna get a Polaris hat, man. You're gonna look.
Wow, you
Joe,
look cool,
Joe,
dude.
please take it
Look, I
off.
got my Vans.
Oh, jeez. You just please.
Whoa,
Oh, no.
whoa.
It's way too early. for
But
this.
where do they email us?
You go to info@tflcar.com.
Yes.
First person gets this crazy cool. I don't look cool in it.
No.
No, actually, you did.
For the only guy who has really good hair, you should probably leave the hats to me.
All right. Well, we're gonna give that one away. So let's talk. Let's do some kind of inside talk from the Chicago Auto Show.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, so-
well, let's finish the thought of Jim Belushi coming out on stage.
Yes.
He was doing yoga while he was yelling about a cigarette lighter, which didn't exist in the van.
Yeah, the first thing he comes about and talks about is, I got to sit in this van, and I got to tell you, I didn't have a cigarette lighter. I'm like, who put cigarette lighters?
It's some sort of
He's
cold-
trying to be funny, okay?
72, or are we in China?
But the funny thing is, he had a family like sitting next to him who were with the bagel company or whatever,
Yeah.
and he's just like,
They had the dog.
Yeah, I was expecting him to pull out a pack of Marlboros and hand it to the kid.
And the Ford dude's like, no, it's not about cigarette lighters, it's about yoga. And then, so then he decides
He lays on the floor.
to do a yoga move.
Yeah.
Well,
So
first of all, I think they were trying to be funny, and it didn't work. But also, they said the Transit Connect, the new one, is for active baby boomers,
yeah,
which I don't quite.
And we should talk about what
understand.
makes it unique. It's got a 1.5 liter diesel.
Diesel,
yeah.
which is so a surprise.
yeah. The range on that thing should be really good. They said had a really high payload, but in terms of actual numbers, we don't have those yet.
So I would tell you guys this about the Chicago Auto Show. It's the world's biggest auto show in terms of
Physically.
square footage. 1,000 cars, dudes. 1,000 cars. And I got to go there one year with my buddy, and when we go there's no one there, right? It's
Right.
empty. It's like you could like skateboard around.
Mm.
When you go there during the public days, you can't get within like 5 people of a car.
Really?
So with the snowstorm, my tip is I'd head on over on Saturday.
Yeah,
Have
yeah.
a place to yourself.
Brave the
Or tonight.
snow.
Well, tonight is
No,
the
tonight's
charity
preview. Yeah.
charity preview.
Sneak into that
which
anyway.
is an expensive ticket.
Yeah.
Yeah, so don't do it tonight. So, any other gossip from the show? What was to you was the most interesting car there? Let's start with you, Andre.
I really love that Nissan XD diesel Cummins lifted with a rack on the back. That looked mean and big, and icon suspension. That was I think my highlight from the show.
There was a Nissan NV200, little one,
Yeah.
that was converted into something similar to a Westphalia camper that was on the floor. I don't think we have a picture of it, guys. That's okay. But we do have a tweet of it. Anyway, the point is that I thought it was a really cool idea. A lot of small families want an inexpensive camper, and this really fit the bill. So hopefully we'll have more coverage of that in the future. And we will have it on video, too.
So I had this idea on the long drive home that we all kind of came up with actually. What we should do with the mid-sized truck wars coming, right? There are actually 4 cool mid-sized trucks coming. There's the Toyota TRD Pro, which was introduced. There was the Ranger, but there might be the Raptor Ranger, which was also introduced recently.
Yeah.
Then we definitely know that there's the JT coming, the Jeep.
Yep.
And then, of course, we know the ZR2's here. So that's 4 very off-road trucks. The problem is we don't know a lot about 2 of them. We don't know if one's coming, and we don't know the specifications. So how about we do something like this? How about we do fantasy truck?
Okay.
Fantasy truck like fantasy football.
Yeah, fantasy truck like fantasy football. We'll call it mid-size truck edition. And what we'll do is we'll put together a video where we'll show all the specifications of all 4 of them, like you're picking players, right?
Right.
And each of us will pick a truck, and then we'll put them up against each other. We'll like compare them, like which one's got the most horsepower, which one's got the most towing, right? And one of them will win. Fantasy truck.
I love that idea.
You like that?
When are we going to do it?
We're gonna do it next week,
Next week.
and we need to play for something. It's got to be, I suggested a case of beer, but Andre said beer and trucks don't mix.
Well, as long as we're in the studio, it might be okay.
I don't think we should do alcohol.
How about for hats?
No, something we want.
Oh, hats.
Well, we got so many. I mean,
All
yeah.
right.
And you got one. That's what we're-
There's a white GTI outside.
Yeah, we can play for
what,
that.
what do you got here? Yeah, Mike's GTI.
Whoa.
I'm just thinking out
So,
loud
if you guys have any ideas about
what to play for.
what to play for, or if you like this kind of concept for a video where we each pick a truck, and we can actually do it with like cars too.
But we want to compare them.
Yeah, yeah, it'll be a real thing.
Completely,
It'll
yeah.
be like fantasy football, right? See which one tows the more. See which one will be faster.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you have an idea what we should play for, yeah, Mike, you guys shout out.
Yeah, so multi-purpose reviewer says,
Oh, yeah,
Multi-purpose
I remember
review.
you.
if you guys get a Yugo and do a mini series with it, I'll buy it from you at the end since I'm
Okay,
sloppy.
I totally want to do something with a Yugo because it's basically a Fiat engine. And every time I mention Yugo, that happens. And his little veins on the side of his head start pumping. So yes, I want to do something with the Yugo. I thought about converting it into a very small pickup
How
truck.
about burning it and pushing it down the hill?
And I could use a Sawzall to cut out the back area, and then leftover parts that are going to fall off the Hummer, I could put onto that vehicle and make it look badass. So, yeah, I'm hoping.
So I had a conversation with Jim Morrison, the head of Ram. Remember I had this idea that we talked about last time where we
Right.
take an SRT Viper truck and make it into a desert runner? I pitched it to him.
Okay.
Not that I wanted anything from him. He liked it. He said,
You liked
do
the
it.
idea?
Yeah,
He
he
said,
said,
do
do
it?
it. Yeah, he said,
So
do it.
SRT10,
Yeah,
make it in a four-wheel drive.
yeah. But first we got to
No,
sell
no,
it.
not into a four-wheel drive.
No,
Two-wheel drive or
drive.
desert
It's a
runner.
pre-run.
Desert runner, pre-runner,
Okay.
yeah. Because
Yeah.
most people understand. See, most people don't understand that pre-runners are two-wheel drive. Ford, of course, made the Raptor into four-wheel drive, but most pre-runners are two-wheel drive. So you take the SRT10, instead of slamming it, you lift it, you put some big ass tires on it, you put some off-road fenders, some hardcore shocks,
Wheels and butts.
and then we drive it to Arizona and go desert running.
Let's
It's
do
gonna
it.
be great.
Yeah.
It's gonna be great. Okay, well, hey,
That's
that's
after we sell the Raptor and after we convert the H2 into an Overlander. So
and after we get the Yugo.
tell you what, if you win fantasy truck, we'll consider getting a Yugo.
Ah! You heard it here first, folks. It's out there. Are there any more shout-outs?
Well, anybody guess the?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, some people have guessed it, but they have to send the email. To
Yeah,
to get it
here's the
back.
thing. If you guess it on this page that you're viewing right now, you don't get anything. You have to go to the info thing first. First one there is the one that gets the hat.
Info@tflcar.com.
Yeah. Okay, so any more?
Jim suggested that maybe the winner gets to fly out to the next cool press event that we get to do. Of the
Oh, you mean the viewers get to fly out to the...
No, in the fantasy
whoever
truck
wins the
thing.
fantasy truck showdown.
Oh, I see.
I kind of like
That's not a
that
terrible idea, but I like the Yugo idea better.
You guys.
Oh,
Yeah.
the winner gets to run over a Yugo with a truck. That would be cool.
You know why I'm not going to give you the Yugo when we get it? Because I don't want it underwater.
Well, I want
I don't know. It's not going to go under... Well, we'll get a snorkel.
Thomas wants to know: will Dodge ever see a new Dakota?
You know, it's a funny question because I ask the same thing, and every single time I talk to anybody from Ram, they give me the stink eye, but then they would smile and walk away. So I think, yeah. So I had a lot of dates when I was a kid like that too. The point is that I think that they've looked at that possibility, but they really want to make sure that their Jeep pickup truck, the Scrambler, or whatever they're going to call it, is a success, and we all know it's going to be. But the point is that why build another vehicle to compete directly against it? So I think that's really the answer.
I agree.
Yeah,
Yeah, so probably more no than yes.
more no than yes.
More the stink
with
eye.
with a hint of maybe.
More the stink eye. Than,
Look,
yeah.
if the market explodes, I mean, who
You know,
knows?
you know what's interesting? So the Ranger Raptor came out in Bangkok, right? And with a twin turbo diesel engine, obviously not something that we would most likely get.
Right.
But here's something interesting. Mike Levine, who is the head of PR for Ford,
North America.
North America, recently changed his profile picture to that of the Ranger Raptor.
that's
I wonder
curious.
if we can read between the lines that we're actually going to get that truck.
It would make sense.
we can hope.
But yeah, honestly though,
Yeah.
Ford, they haven't really been pushing the Ranger, in terms of big
Yeah, I was kind
commercials.
of surprised.
Or
It was
anything like
kind of off to the side. So
At
when
the
you
Chicago
walk,
show
when you-
was-
usually if you go to the Chicago Auto Show, here's a hint. If you want to know what car is the most important to the manufacturers of the brand, look to see what car is most prominently displayed. So you walk into the Ford exhibit, and the most prominent car was
the Ford GT.
exactly. You walk into Toyota's exhibit, and the most prominent vehicles
TRD Pro. Boom.
exactly.
Yeah, and I don't.
You walk into Nissan, and it's a Star.
It's snowing.
It's
So
Starfighter.
it's snowing and it's Star Wars stuff. Yeah, but so it's an interesting thing. But if you do go to the Chicago show, there is a Ranger. It is on the floor. It looks great, but it's kind of off to the side.
It's a pre-production version, so you can't
Yeah.
really get in it.
Oh
You
yeah.
Just look at it.
If you grab a door handle, there's a guy who's got a little thing coming out of his ear, and he'll talk to his lapel and say, "Throw this."
All right, guys, we're about out of time.
Yes, we
so next week we're going to try to do this every day of the week at 10 o'clock Mountain Time, which is 11 o'clock Central, noon for all you Eastern folks, and of course 9 o'clock on the West Coast. Zach, what shows do we have lined up for next week? What are we doing?
Next week we have the 10 most anticipated cars of 2018.
Oh, nice. The 10 most anticipated cars of 2018.
And on Tuesday,
Yeah.
we have Ask Mr. Truck.
Oh, heck yeah. We're going
Oh,
to
Mr. Truck!
Yeah.
Hey, Kent is coming in.
Is he under the? No, he's
We
not
get
here.
at least a half a dozen serious truck questions each day that I can't even begin to answer. It's way over my head.
Yeah.
Well, and a lot of you guys, thank you for sending the questions, by the way. A lot of detailed questions. We love that.
Yeah, we do love that. So that's why we've got Kent.
Yeah.
He's our expert.
Yeah.
We're gonna bring him in, and we're going to have him answer those questions. Yes, Michael.
People want to hear about your road trip.
Oh, people want to hear about our.
How much time?
How much time do we have?
And SpongeBob. And SpongeBob.
I can start by saying that Roman decided last minute that we should rent a car instead of fly back.
I asked.
We voted.
We voted.
We finally voted.
Yes.
Yeah, he didn't force us. There's no gun to our head. But we rented a really beat up car.
No, we rented a midsize sedan. And we hoped we would get upgraded.
So it all kind of went south because I called, and guess how much it cost to drive a car one way from Chicago during a snowstorm?
Wrong.
$257.
Right.
Right. For like the car we were in for 14 hours. So I got a mid-sized sedan because I'm like, whoa, that's a lot of money. Thinking you'll just go to the airport and they'll like, hey,
They'll give you a Suburban.
Yeah, we'll give you exactly or something all-wheel drive. No, it was a mid-sized sedan, a Ford Fusion
With a Florida plate.
Florida plate.
and tires that were
Basically summer tires.
Summer tires.
in a snowstorm,
And it had 46,000 miles when we jumped in it.
and it was beat up.
Somebody
And dirty.
really unleashed on that
The
poor
rear
car.
window was shaking.
We
and
thought
then
it
it
was
fixed
gonna pop
itself.
It fixed itself because of the gasket froze because of the snow, but the exhaust was blowing, so it made this weird blah noise, and it was
Andre found weird like gloves in the.
There was a glove on the floor.
only one.
That was really frightening.
May have been bloodstained. We're not 100% sure, but I think one of what you said, it looked like somebody took a bowling ball, put it in a burlap bag, and started smacking the car. It was this thing was just beat up.
Let's put it this way.
But it got us here.
It got
in
us here in
time.
one piece.
It was the only car that was cleaner after four guys, big guys, that spent 14 hours in it road tripping.
Then we got it.
Then when we got it.
Yeah, it was pretty ridiculous.
So we all switched turns, with the all took turns.
All of us
driving.
drove a
And
chunk.
it literally snowed probably entire 900 miles out of 1,000 miles.
Yeah, that snowstorm just cuts across the whole swath.
Yeah, so we did duck out and miss, and there are over 900
And-
flights that are either canceled or major delay.
And we did a very, let's call it R-rated video because we were pretty slap happy.
It's not what
You
you think.
really need to tell these people what you mean by that, because right
But it goes
now.
back to SpongeBob.
So stay tuned for that video, guys. It's part of TFL After Dark.
Well, guys, thanks for watching. Remember, if you're watching this after it's been live, we still love to get your comments. We read
Yes.
all of them. Yeah, it was a great show. We're home. And
See you on Monday, I guess.
Yeah, see you Monday. It's another week at TFL.
Have a great weekend. Don't forget, Olympics are this weekend. We're going to be watching.
All right, take care. Ciao.
Bye.